What's up everybody, it's CJ and I'm back with another Barnacle Bay renovation video, and today we're going to be tackling the Sandy Nest. Now I'm going to be so honest with y'all, I genuinely thought that I had already done this house before, because I was like, this house looks very similar to one that we did a couple weeks ago, and then I was like, well maybe I'm in a different save file, because whenever I do these kind of videos I always have backups just in case, so I was like, maybe I accidentally clicked on an older copy of the save file, let me go check. No, no y'all. This house looks super similar to one that we did a couple weeks ago. That one was the Garden Cottage, I believe that's what it was called. This one is different, slightly different, because I think the left side of the house is either smaller on the other house or it doesn't exist. I can't remember, but there are some slight differences. So it's technically not the same house, but it's very, very, very similar. I think also the other house had a back porch. This one doesn't. But either way, I really like the way this one turned out, and it's funny because I almost scrapped this build altogether, y'all. Sometimes when I look at these builds, they're so janky in my opinion, or there's just so many things that just I don't like, and I'm really trying with this series to not completely bulldoze everything and just build it from scratch, because I just feel like for me it's funner to just take what's given to me and try to improve it, Sometimes you do have to end up deleting a lot of stuff and changing it, obviously, but I try to keep most of the original shell of the build and try to fix it. So sometimes when I feel like I'm getting overwhelmed, I'm like, okay, let's just go to a different build altogether. But I'm actually glad and proud of myself that I stuck with this one today, because this house, it looks like one that I've seen before. This one just kind of gives grandma's house energy. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know how to explain it. I feel like you just kind of know what I mean. It just kind of gives grandma energy. And one thing I do like about this house and this part of the world in Barnacle Bay, this part of the world is more rural. It's far from the beach. It's just a countryside. You have hills, there's hay and trees and everything. So it kind of just gives countryside, and I just really like that about Barnacle Bay, because it has a good mixture of tropical, beachy, but it's also kind of more a more rural area too. I don't know if you'll like this. You'll have to let me know how you feel about it down below, but I went with the green color for the house. Usually I use this siding. I usually don't change the material. I think it has a metal material, so sometimes when the sun hits it, it'll look metallic and the colors will kind of be weird. So instead of going for the metallic design, I went with a paint design for this house, so it looks a lot more vibrant. I literally almost changed the color of the wallpaper, because at first I didn't like it, but the more I looked at it, the more I kind of liked it. It's kind of giving old house, maybe an old farmhouse kind of thing, or an old bungalow or something, where maybe whoever owns this, they updated the paneling on the outside. It's kind of giving that. Have you ever seen someone with an old house or older house, but they have a tin or metal roof that's new? It's kind of like that. With that idea in mind, I was like, all right, I think we're in business now. So we have really bright green. It's kind of giving tractor green color house. I'm also swapping out some of the original trees for these from, I believe they're from Showtime. And I really like the pathway that led up to the house, but I wanted to kind of make it more even. So sometimes people ask CJ, why do you sometimes use floor tiles when you do the pathing? I kind of use it as a stencil. So if you ever want a area to be really even when you are doing terrain paint in The Sims 3, you can basically put floor tiles down to where you want the flooring to go. So in this case, I'm putting some in little sections like this. But when you go in with the terrain paint tool, essentially whatever you color, it'll only stay between those borders, so you don't really have to worry about it bleeding out to the other side. Sometimes it will a little bit, but for the most part you don't have to worry about it, so you get these really nice even lines, and I quite like it, y'all. I love this little trick. I wish it worked for The Sims 4. It at least works in The Sims 3, and I heard it works in The Sims 2 also. So, little tip for today. I'm also using these really nice hydrangea plants. I don't really use the pink ones all that often. I sometimes forget we have those, because I usually use the blue or the white ones because they're a simoleon. I don't know how much these are, but I think they're a lot more expensive. But I quite like them. I think the pink and the green really suit each other. This really just gives grandma's house, y'all. I don't know. It just kind of gives grandma energy. I also included some white hydrangeas too, just for a little bit of contrast. But I just love this house, y'all. I just love it. I love it. I love it. I kind of wish that we had a way to make a screened-in porch in the game. You could kind of do something like that, but I wish there was an actual wallpaper for it, or an actual porch made, because that'd have been so nice to have a screened-in porch for this little area, But that's essentially it for the outside. I didn't really want to change the roofing too much. I liked it enough. Honestly, as far as EA houses go, this one was pretty decent, so I didn't really change the roofing all too much. I kind of like the style of it. I did, add a couple extra pieces just to kind of make it look more interesting, and then I'm also adding this fence in the front yard only. So one big thing I haven't talked about yet is that I wanted to kind of keep this house kind of cheap-ish. Because y'all know usually with these, I kind of go overboard and add a bunch of stuff. But I kind of wanted to, like, have this be, like, not a starter home, but, like, a cheaper home, if that makes sense. Because, like, there are a couple of starter homes in the world already. And for me, personally, I just like starter homes in custom worlds or honestly, any Sims world. Because usually when I play the game, I usually play with one Sim. And I try not to cheat money if I don't have to. Sometimes I do, but usually I don't because I do a lot of challenges and stuff. So it's just kind of nice to have a place to move into that you don't have to cheat for. So this one is obviously not going to be a starter home for one Sim. If anything, this might be like a 4-Sim starter home house. I think the original price of the house was 27,000 simoleons. With my renovation, it ended up being 38,000. So a little bit more, a little bit more. But I think it was worth it. I tried to be mindful because, for one, the house isn't that big, right? I feel like since it's not that big, you probably won't need to put that much stuff in there. But there were some sections that I wanted to add things to kind of fill in empty spaces. So, for example, the kitchen, I'm adding a lot more counter space than we probably actually would need. But it kind of just helps fill in the space a lot more. I tried to keep some of the original stuff. So, for example, the countertops I did keep. I didn't even recolor them. I kept the stove and the fridge. The original table is here. The tile. Even the lights in the house are original, except for the one in the nursery. I did add one, but the rest of the lights are basically just original because I was really trying to stick with that budget, y'all. It was kind of, like, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, but, like, I could kind of low-key feel myself slipping and wanting to add a bunch of stuff, but I was like, nah, CJ, let's try to keep it somewhat cheap. So, again, it is 38,000 simoleons, so it's not really that cheap, but hopefully you'll still like it, and hopefully maybe your Sims can still move in. Maybe you might have to work towards living here, Like, this is a really nice house in the countryside. There is a garden in the back of the house. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but you'll see like a whole garden in the back of the house too, so it has harvestables for you, so it has a lot of stuff. So now we move on to this living room section. So at first I wanted to kind of have this section be closed off, but I felt like it wouldn't make sense from like just looking at it, so I was like, we'll just keep this space open. I'll add a half wall for the kitchen and we'll have this kind of be like open. So I'm using the old TV from 70s, 80s, and 90s stuff. Y'all know I love that TV. And instead of me using like a couch and a love seat combination, I used 2 love seats because the space just isn't that big. So 2 love seats and a chair will suffice in my opinion. The coffee table that I used is from the store. I cannot remember what set it's from. It looks like custom made. It has like a glass slab. The legs of the table are like tree branches or something. So I quite liked it. I also went with this really nice design for the rug. Like, this little section was so cute. And then I used the black and white cow design for the couches. I feel like the couches were a lot more vibrant when they were first bought, but this is like an old house, so the white is a little bit dingy now. It's more like a off yellow peachy kind of color, but I still think it looks nice. And then to just have a little bit of contrast, I added a black recliner chair, and I just took the black cow design and I just dragged it onto the chair so it all should match. I'm using some of these wagon wheels in here as well because I really do like them. And I also added some curtains. I wish I would have had my Sims 3 tool mod installed. I need to install it because I keep saying that and I keep thinking to install it, but I don't, because I have, if you don't know, I have 2 separate Sims 3 mod folders. One for this series, which is just like essential mods like home opener and like Inra stuff, and then I have like my main mods folder, which has like all my other stuff. And I forgot to include the Sims 3 tool mod for this one, and I need to put it in there. I need to make a note right now. If I would have had them, I would have used the curtains from Ambitions that has like the rod in the middle. I wanted to use that one for like some of the other windows, but I have a lot of single tile windows in this house and it wouldn't look good for those, so I just used one in the living room, and then the other ones I just kind of have the single pieces. And then now we move on to the nursery. So as for the nursery, as you can see, I kept the original wallpaper. I did tweak the colors a little bit, but I kept the original wallpaper. The floor, I went with carpet this time around for the bedroom floors. Well, so at first I felt like this room was maybe for a teenager or a kid, but seeing as how I see this as like a family home kind of thing, I was like, maybe if you move in here, you would probably like want to grow in this house a little bit. So I was like, I'll give you a nursery in case your Sims ever do have a baby or something, or maybe you adopt, I don't know. So if you want, you can always swap the stuff out to make it into a regular bedroom. But for me, I was like, let's just make it a nursery, We have the older crib from base game. I have the rocking chair from Supernatural. We have some curtains on the windows as well. So now we move on to the bathroom. So I wanted to keep the original tile in the bathroom. I quite like this one with the little like squares in it. I just tweaked the colors ever so slightly, but I quite liked it. And I was really trying to find a space for the shower to go, but it just wasn't looking good. And I was like, okay, let's just use a shower tub combo. So I used the older looking one. I think it's maybe the cheapest one in the game. So I ended up using that one, and I copied the design of the tile to go on the back of that object, because that object has tile on it, you know, so that way it could match with the wallpaper. And then I'm using a countertop with a sink for the sink, obviously. And then I kept the original toilet, and I'm so glad, y'all, that I took screenshots, because I found out that there's like these towels that are basically like, you can't see them here, but they're like right in between the tub and the sink, and they kind of clip. So I'm so glad I went to look and take screenshots so I could move it to the other wall because it would have been in the way otherwise. And then I added a medicine cabinet just to have something on the wall, and then I'm also adding a little circular rug in here. And of course I went with the cow print because, you know, I just like the cow print. But last but not least, we move on to the primary bedroom. So, you know, this is kind of giving like parents' bedroom kind of thing. So for this one, I went with the green color scheme because I was really inspired by the bed that comes with the pets pack. I quite like this one, so I was like, we'll just kind of go with the green today. I also kept the original lamps in here because I quite like them. And then the end tables I used are from the base game, I believe. I like the idea of them having a desk in here, so I swapped out the original desk with the one from the pets pack. And then of course I added some curtains in here. The dresser I use is from, I think it's from the mid-century set, I want to say. And I copied the design of the wood over to it so it could kind of blend in a little bit more. The rug I use is like that splat rug from Supernatural, and I put like a really older design on it. And essentially that's basically it for the inside of the house, you know. All that's really left is the outside, and then for the outside, like I said, it's a garden back there, and it came with your house. So I was like, we'll just keep it. All I really did though was kind of just redo the terrain paint just to make it more even. I also added a gate to the other side of the fenced in area. That way your Sims could kind of like walk through and walk like all around the house. I did recolor the fencing as well. And I also added a couple of park benches out there in case you wanted to sit. And I thought about adding more harvestables because it was looking a little bit bare. But then I was like, nah, I'll leave it alone. This is enough to get you started. Maybe if you want to, you can go in and add more harvestables. But I thought it was okay as is, you know? But in the end, y'all, that's basically everything for the entire video. So if you did enjoy it, please be sure to leave a like, comment something down below. If you want to download this lot, I am going to leave a link to it down below as well. Ooh, and y'all, you'll see at the end of the video, I snuck in a parking space. So there is a parking space in the front yard. But anyway, y'all, that is all that I have for this one. Please stick around for the screenshots, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Thanks for watching!